and I was living in Massachusetts at the time. Jesus, that was close. Holy crap. Woo, that one puckered up my butt a little bit. Well, hello everybody, and thank you all for joining me today. We are on Blue Ridge Parkway, as usual. My typical weekend routine. Love to come out here with some of the other guys and hit this road because it is just so much fun. It is so beautiful. You come in the morning and there's barely any traffic. It's absolutely awesome. So yeah, we are out here just cruising down to Montebello, and then we're gonna get down off the parkway, hit 151 and back, and head back north up 151. Topic of the discussion today is an interesting one, and it's a story that I get asked a lot on how did I come to get this bike, and why get a Ducati 848? Why did you choose that as opposed to something else, like a 1098, 1198, or like the new Panigale or something like that? So I'm just going to kind of go over that with you all, and the story of how I found my bike and bought it and everything else like that. To start, why did I pick the 848? That one's a pretty simple reason. So I originally had a CBR 600 F3, which was a 98. It was a fun bike. It was a great bike. It had been a few people's first bikes, you could tell. I mean, the thing had been dropped so many times. I mean, it was all the plastics were all cracked and scraped, and the plastics had been like spray painted over. It was just terrible. So I ended up picking that up for, geez, I think it was like 1,800 bucks. It only had like 15,000 miles on it. So I rode that for about 2 years, and then it came time for me to deploy with the military, and so I sold the bike. And before I sold it, I was like, you know, I really want to get a different bike. Like, oh, I want to get a you know, a CBR 600 RR, something like that. I just wanted a little bit bump from a 600 because I was pretty content with the 600cc. It was a good sized bike for me. You know, big enough to have fun, but not too crazy for me to kill myself. I wanted something that was fuel injected. I was tired of the carburetor, and I just wanted something newer and nice because I'd been riding a piece of junk for 2 years. Well, it looked like a piece of junk. It ran like a top. So before I ended up selling my bike, I actually came across a 1198 that was for sale at a local used bike dealer, and it was a pearl white and black. It was an absolutely stunning bike, and he's like, oh yeah, it's, you know, only this much a month, yada yada. And I really wanted it, but I was like, there's no way I'm going from a 600 carbureted to a 1200 V-twin fuel injected bike. I'm going to kill myself. While researching the 1198, I came across the 848, which is the smallest of the super bikes for that generation. There's the 848, 1098, 1198. So I started looking at the 848. I was like, okay, like that's only an 850. That's a good jump from a 600. And then I came across like this color, the white and the red, and I was like, yep, next bike, 100% next bike. And it was the color that really drew me towards it. It was the single-sided swing arm. It was, you know, it was a good size for me, and I just thought they were just stunning bikes, and they weren't like crazy expensive to buy them used. Since I was looking in 2015, they stopped making them at that point, so I couldn't buy them new. And since the 899, 1199 and 1299 had came out, nobody really wanted the 848, 1098, 1198. They all wanted the new Panigale. They wanted the newest, the latest and greatest, so they were going for fairly cheap, and I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna jump on that. So now that we're not behind those Harleys anymore, I'm going to continue with the vlog. So yeah, I ended up deploying with the military, and when I was on deployment, I was, you know, just searching, doing a ton of research on these bikes with looking at pricing and mods and everything else. So when I came back from deployment, I was like, all right, time to start hunting since I had the money. I came back in November, so I wasn't in a huge rush, but I definitely wanted to get one before spring. So that way I had a bike when spring rolled around. And I hunted for about 3 months, and I actually found this one out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was living in Massachusetts at the time, so Philly was like it was a day trip. I think it was about 5, maybe 6 hours. I found it on Craigslist, and I talked to the guy and was like, hey man, like I really like your bike. I'd really like to come buy it, but just so you know, it's gonna take me a couple weeks like and get out there. So I picked up a little passenger. He's gonna have to get going though, because we're about to do take off, continue hitting the trails. Come on, little buddy. Come on. There you go. Good job. Shoo, shoo, shoo. No, 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 no. Shoo. Get out of here. Alright, so to continue on with the story, kind of forgot where I left off. So the bike was out in Philly. I talked to the guy. I was like, hey, listen, I want to come get the bike. When are you available? And just so you know, I'm coming all the way from Massachusetts. I'm not like local. He had some things with work. He was going to be out of town for a couple weeks, but he said, hey, listen, in 3 weeks, he's like, you get first dibs on it. And so it was a long 3 weeks, let me tell you. Finally the time came, hopped in my buddy's truck, hooked up the trailer, and went all the way out to Philly. Checked out the bike, took it for a quick spin. It looked solid. It only had 1,600 miles on it, and that was what I was looking for. I was really looking for like a low miles, looking for a low mileage bike for like a good price, and I got it for about $2,000 less than what everybody else was asking for them, and it only had 1,600 miles on it. So I bought the bike, hooked it up on the trailer, brought it home, and that's essentially the story. And a part that I kind of left out actually is when I was looking on Craigslist, it was my girlfriend who came across it. I was getting frustrated because I couldn't find any that were local, and so she took the phone, she started, you know, putzing around, and she looked in Philly, and that's where she found it. And she was like, hey, you should reach out to him. I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of far, blah blah blah. She's like, no, you really should reach out to him. I was like, okay. And here we are. So thanks to her, I now have my awesome 848. So I just bought it and I rode it, and I kept it basically stock for the first year. I did the windscreen on it, I did the blinkers on it, upgraded the headlights and the running lights. I really just did little small cheap stuff. I did like tank pads on it, but yeah, I really didn't go crazy with it just because I didn't really have the money to throw at it. I had to put new tires on it. The Diablo tires were they were junk. They burned out real quick. When I moved down to Virginia is when I really started modding it. I got an exhaust for it. I got all the carbon fiber bits and everything like that. And I will be doing a video on all the mods that I've done to it, and just kind of covering everything, where I got it, because that's one of the biggest questions I have is like, hey, where did you get this, where did you get that? The biggest one are these turn signals / block offs. So if you want to know where I got all that stuff, make sure you check out that video. Once I make it and edit it, I will put it in the description below. Really don't have too much else, but that's really just the story of the bike. And I mean, if you have any other questions or anything like that, like, feel free to ask me. But like, the number one thing I just tell everybody is just do your research. I mean, these bikes are even cheaper now than they were when I bought mine last year, and you can get them, you know, with some good, like, broken in miles, you know, 3, 5, 7,000 miles. Just ensure, like, you know what you're getting into, and if you are getting ones that are close to 7,500, just keep in mind that service and everything of the sort. But yeah, guys, like I said, if you have any more comments or questions, you can post them below. You can also ask me on my Instagram, which I will post in the comments. It's the same as my channel, Ducati Kid 848. But thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. As always, guys, ride safe.